I am an evolutionary anthropologist and statistician. So please feel free to ask me any questions about science. If I don't know, we'll look it up. Um, Today's just gonna be a chill day. That's what I'm feeling today, is just total chillness. So we're gonna go edit some photos of my of photos I've taken of some wildlife, and then we're gonna look at some animal behavior research, see kind of what has lately been produced. Uh-oh. It's really gonna want to sync things. We're gonna pause that. Yeah, I'm gonna pause syncing until tomorrow. Alright. So I'm just sad that I didn't get a really good photo of it doing that. The stick got in the way of the flamin' response. So, for those who don't know, this is a tapir. This is one of the last of the megafauna. Ooh, this is a bad photo. We're just gonna delete that. So this is one of the last of the South American megafauna that survived the mass extinction of South America. So this was of the unique megafauna. Which is why they look so goofy compared to a lot of other animals. So, in case you don't know, about, I want to say 10 to 20 million years ago. Let me do this. Let me look at this real fast. That's the wrong thing. Oh, right. American interchange. All right, so groups naturally reached as early as 9 to 10 million years ago. Island hopped to North America 9 million years ago. Okay, so yeah, about 9 to 10 million years ago, there was when North and South America finally got close enough together to when they finally got close enough together to allow animals to go from one continent to another, it created something called the Great the Great American Interchange, or Biotic Interchange. And so from South America, you get giant ground sloths, you get capybara, armadillos, glyptodons, terror birds, fish, I guess, and parrots. This is only like a small portion of what was found there. And then in South America got ungulates like horses, llamas, deer, and then like peccaries, and elephants. I guess elephants were down there. I forgot about that. And saber-toothed cats. And before that, you had a real South America got weird in the amount of unique biodiversity. Like they show here that, so this was a saber-toothed marsupial that had these really crazy saber teeth and like lower jaw that acted as sheaths. And this was a South American mammal. Oh wow, it was actually pretty small. I didn't realize it was so small. But yeah, it's interesting that it retook the not retook it expand that when there was a gap in this time period, someone was gonna become a saber-tooth. And the cats had taken over a lot of it, but this is one of the few non-feline animals that also took over that niche. And so with the sort of throwing extended canines in the jaw, side skull with Smilodon. It's also really interesting to see just how much further they could open their jaws, and also just how much deeper into the head the tooth was. I mean, like 2/3 of the tooth of the Thylacosmilus was in the head, really anchoring the tooth, unlike in big cats where only half of the tooth was anchored in the head. But something that is a common trait with many with saber-tooth animals is that having really big teeth like this means that you have to have really expand your jaw. So it originally I had always heard that the saber-tooth cats were able to unhinge their jaw the widest of nearly any animal. But it seems here that Thylacosmilus could open it even wider. I guess because of certain processes allowed them to do that. But pretty big expansion of the jaw, just so that they could get their teeth to actually impact prey. I don't know what their prey was, though. More competitive saber-toothed cats. Known from South America until Middle Pleistocene. Oh, newest study shows this is not the case. Interesting. What did they eat? That's what I don't know. So it's thought that saber-toothed cats ate things like mammoths, like baby mammoths, that they would attack from above and try to sever the spinal column of like baby to juvenile mammoths. Because these teeth are so long that typically any kind of smaller animal could struggle and break the teeth off in its head, and snap these teeth. These teeth were really weak to side. So looks like I lost everybody. Yeah, it's fine. Sparacidont. A group closely related to mammals and only superficially due to convergent evolution. The bite forces were low, which indicates killing techniques of the animals differ from those of extant species. Right. Okay. Okay. Alright. Stupid dumb branch. Alright. Good range. That's interesting, though, that tapirs are actually from the are not from the North American interchange. I mean, they are, but they're from North America. You know what? You know what I really want to see? Let's see if I can listen to my audiobook. That's what I really want to listen to right now. Let's change to this, because I don't want to dox myself or really re-show any of my passwords. Alright, give me a second. How do they just do the password and... Never understood that. Nice. I can listen to it. Alright, we're gonna listen to my audiobook.
So stuck up, as if meeting people's expectations was some kind of higher calling. Obviously, I was attracted anyway. I was 16 and you were so smart.
Oh, this is a super spicy romantic moment. Alright, how do I... Oh, right. Right? Oh, yeah. Definitely gonna need to lower this down. Yeah, I can't control that. Alright.
Plus, you already look like the winning entry in a design an absurdly gorgeous woman contest.
Oh, right.
Sure
I also forgot.
Compliments work. I told you that I hated you at the start. I thought you were just another rich prick automaton built from your parents' money. Then I started catching glimpses behind the curtain. Why did a rich girl in 2010 know anything about Tom Selleck's mustache? Then there's the way you throw yourself so hard into everything.
Okay.
You put on this reserved face, but you show your passion with how much you invest in everything you do. That was kind of annoying in debate club, but watching you kite surf was one of the sexiest things I've ever...
Okay, yeah, I might just cut that off for now, because I can then listen to my audiobook while we do this. Alright. Alright. Alright, let me see. Wow, I'm kind of in the low area here. Hold on. Okay. Alright. Cool. Alright. Right. This cute little baby. Let's see what we got here. A bit of a... All right. Let's see. Little baby capybara. Right. All right. Get this little baby capybara. Yeah, that's pretty good. I always like that this tooth is capped. Let's see. All right. All right. All right. Some peccaries. I think these are collared peccaries. Okay. Buntabak. Letting it go pee. Okay. All right. Hmm. All right. All right. I believe these are lesser kudu. All right. Hello, new person. I hope you're doing well. We're just editing some photos before we look at some research. All right. Okay, here we go. So, cool thing. So, cool thing about lesser kudu is that there's another relative called the greater kudu, and that look like this. Give me a second. So these are greater kudu, and you would look at them and go like, "Oh, they're the same. They're like really close species, like nearly like subspecies." Turns out, not even close. Like they're in the same family, but they are not closely related at all. They in fact have different wonky chromosomes. I believe. Hold on, let me see for a second. Because here's the lesser kudu, and then the greater kudu is over here. Um, the lesser kudu has 38 chromosomes. Unlike the others in the subfamily, the X and Y chromosomes are compound, and each is fused with one or two identical autosomes. So they don't have their own separate sex chromosomes. Their sex chromosomes have fused to uh, their normal chromosomes. So lesser kudu have very funky chromosomes. And then here's a Grevy Zebra. Just a chill guy. Alright, well, there goes the person. Just making sure my head isn't out of frame. Hello. How are you all doing? Good to see four people. I'll take four people. Sorry if I'm being a little quiet today. I'm pretty tired, and I'm also listening to an audiobook that I that I've paused. That I've paused the music so I can listen to while I play because I'm addicted to it. I'm feeling kind of like I've done a lot of this. Why don't we look at some papers? All right. All right. Let's see. What do we have in the latest year? Data set from Kenyan animal behavior recognition from drone videos. Nice. Rethinking experimental animal. Long time scales, individual differences. Okay, these are too broad. Let's see. What animal? Does anyone have any anyone have an animal that they really want to know about today that we can try and look into? All right, let's see. All right, let's see. What do we want to? What animal do we want to look at? You know what? Snakes. Life size guide to 600 species from around the world. That's cool. Oh wow, that actually seems pretty cool. I'd get that book. Never read it, unfortunately. The macro evolutionary singularity of snakes. What does this say? Okay, snakes and lizards, squamata, represent a third. Hold on, I'm gonna. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna pause this. I'm gonna pull up the music. If I'm gonna read. Alright. Then we're gonna go here and silence it. Okay, there we go. Okay. Snakes and lizards represent a third of the terrestrial vertebrates and exhibit spectacular innovations in locomotion, feeding, and sensory processing. However, the evolutionary drivers of this radiation remain poorly known. We infer potential causes and ultimate consequences of squamata macroevolution by combining individual-based natural history observations with a comprehensive time-calibrated phylogeny. I don't know what time-calibrated phylogeny means. That we anchored with genomic data from 1,000 species due to shifts in dynamics of speciation and phenotypic evolution. Snakes have transformed the trophic structures of animal communities through the recurrent origin and diversification of specialized predatory strategies. Really? I guess that's true. That there's such an unique physiology that you have to develop unique behaviors probably not seen before. Squatamate biodiversity reflects a legacy of singular events that occurred during the early history of snakes and reveals the impact of historical contingency of vertebrate biodiversity. From a phylogenetic. So, okay. Well, there's no one really here. What do I want to do while we wait for people? Let's see. Okay, what am I gonna do? I don't know what I want to do. All right, I want to read this, but I want to read this with people. So I might. Let's see. Let's see. What do I want to do? I'm gonna pause this. Well, no, silence it. I should just pause it. I'm gonna turn that off, and then we're gonna. All right. Let's see. Animal behavior. What do I want to do? Let's see. Is there any good symbi? Let's see. What do we got here? Metaverse and gaming. That's boring. Peas and the rhizobiome. Rhizobium. Not boring, but just not what we're looking for. Bank regulation and supervision. Sounds terrible. Menstruation in plant science? Hold on. International Journal of Pharmacogeny and Life Science. I don't even know if this is legit. What is this? Delves into the intriguing and symbiotic relationship between menstruation and plant science, exploring the multifaceted connections that exist between seemingly distinct domains. From the botanical perspective, the study investigates the potential ecology impact of menstrual race on plant growth. Oh, interesting. This is a weird topic. I mean, I'm down to read about it. Oh wait. Okay, cool. Reflecting the hormonal environmental changes associated with the menstrual cycle. Beyond the biological realm, the article delves into the cultural significance of plants and menstrual rituals, shedding light on the historical intertwining of nature, femininity, and spirituality. Furthermore, the research examines the potential role of plant-based remedies in managing menstrual health, exploring the phytochemical compounds that could offer relief for menstrual symptoms. That would be useful. This seeks to foster a holistic understanding of intricate relationships between menstruation and plant science, encouraging further exploration at the intersection of biology, ecology, and cultural practices. All right, let's see this menstrual. This is a sentence I never thought I'd ever read. Menstrual blood as fertilizer. Okay. What? Okay. In the intricate web of life, unexpected connections often emerge, revealing fascinating interplay between seemingly unrelated phenomena. One such surprising alliance has been recently piqued in the interest of researchers is the symbiotic relationship between menstruation and plant science. While these two subjects appear worlds apart, a deeper exploration unravels a connection that goes beyond mere coincidence. Menstruation, a natural and essential biological process in many female mammals, has long been studied for its physiological and reproductive implications. Simultaneously, plant science delves into the intricate mechanisms governing plant growth, development, and responses to environmental cues. Okay, was this written by AI? Because this seems whack. Because this sentence literally already has been said. While these two subjects seem world apart, go beyond mere coincidence. And then, at first glance, the convergence of these two realms seems unlikely. I almost feel that this was. That's already setting off red flag. Okay, now we gotta see if this paper was like written by AI. Because that seems a little suspect. Also the wording for this is very odd. To be fair, it was clearly written by they're written by people from India, so the wording may have been translated, or they just use because they I mean, typically for scientific papers, you try to lower down like kind of how fluffy the vocabulary, which is a very chat GPT thing. Simultaneously, plant science delves into the intricate mechanisms governing plant growth, development. At first glance, the convergence of the two realms may seem unlikely, shed light in intricate ways both intersect. This article is said to illuminate this intriguing relationship, exploring unexpected parallels. This feels very chat GPT, because they literally are just repeating the same thing over and over again. At first glance, convergence seem unlikely. The intriguing relationship, unexpected parallels, and mutual benefits. from the hormonal fluctuations influencing both menstruating individuals and plant life to the shared ecological impact of menstruational products, our exploration will uncover the symbiosis between menstruation and plant science. Didn't they just... That's the 4th time that they've repeated this. As we delve into this uncharted territory, a deeper understanding will may not only reshape our approach to menstrual health, but also inspire innovations with positive implications of both human well-being and environmental sustainability. This paragraph, I gotta say, this paragraph sucked. This paragraph said literally the exact same thing 2 to 4 times. What? What a truly funky thing. I swear, this is AI. This is like AI written. I'm sorry for the people who wrote this, but this seems very sus. When was this produced? Okay, this was in 2023. ChatGPT wasn't as good. It may, but I hate to be that guy, but this is also just poor writing, because they go, wow, these two a deeper explanation on it's to introduce both topics, like to talk about and give us a little bit of history about like our knowledge of the menstruational cycle and of plant biology, or what's relevant in this. And like, you read this and then the only thing you get out of it is that they are apparently intertwined. How they're intertwined, I couldn't tell you. This is so sus. In the quest for sustainable and eco-friendly practices, unconventional solutions often emerge as game changers. One such unexplored avenue lies in the utilization of menstrual blood as a fertilizer for agricultural purposes. Okay, read with an open mind. Their next sentence is going... Okay. This idea initially evokes a surprise or skepticism. Yes, but as we delve into the intricate composition of menstrual blood and the nutrient requirements for plants, a compelling argument for this alternative fertilizer begins to unfold. One unexpected connection between menstruation and plant science is the potential use of This is absolutely written by AI. I am convinced now that this is written by AI. Because what the fuck is this sentence right here? When they already spent 2 sentences talking about this. Oh my god, what is happening? What? It literally says, one such unexplored avenue lies in the utilization of menstrual blood as a fertilizer for agricultural practices. And then immediately it goes, one unexpected connection between menstrual blood and plant science is the potential use of menstrual blood as a natural fertilizer. This has to have been AI written. There is no way that they were allowed to write this poorly. I mean, I am sorry, but like, maybe this is their second. It's like, knowing people from India, that this is probably, English is probably their 3rd, maybe 4th language. There's like 60 languages, different distinct languages in India. There are a lot, and I will give them slack for that. But this is terrible writing. In 4 sentences, they have not given us a single thing about how this could be used. Menstrual blood contains essential nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Uh-oh. Still playing? Yes. Okay, good. I hope this isn't too loud. I need to bring this over more. Okay. I think this is, yes, this is much better. All right. This is insane. I just want to say, whoever wrote this is an absolute lunatic. Okay, menstrual blood contains essential nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, which are vital for plant growth. Some eco-conscious individuals have explored the idea of using menstrual blood as an organic... Okay, how, though? Not only challenges societal taboos, others to agricultural sustainability. Oh my god, this paragraph literally tells you nothing. Okay, we get it. It's weird. Obviously, very weird. The better question is that the question then you have to ask yourself is like, okay, you pitched this idea, but how do you collect? What is the feasibility of this? Are you just like throwing used tampons into the soil? Like, what is this? Hold on. Okay, we're back to... How does it do that sometimes? It's so dumb. This has to have been AI written. ChatGPT 100% wrote this article. I am convinced that it has been. I would be willing to bet $1 million. And if not, this is like one of the worst published papers I've ever read. Like, just period. This thing is awful. I have to share this with people. Like, this is so bad. What the fuck, dude? And then it just immediately changes to the menstrual cycles and lunar phases. What? Where does this come from? Where does this section happen? I am completely flabbergasted by this. What is happening? Because, like, okay. As someone who has written scientific papers, one of the main things right here is that the introduction is supposed to give you over, especially for something like this. Especially for something this short, the introduction is supposed to introduce you to the concepts that the paper is going to then talk about. And so it should have introduced menstrual blood as a fertilizer, and then menstrual cycles in the lunar phases, which has nothing to do with plants. I mean, we'll obviously see how they try to spin this, but this is just, what the fuck, dude? Okay. Alright, I'm not going insane. This is actually bad. I don't want to actually shit on this but this is bad. This is bad. Oh my god, I'm gonna have to save this. Also, I need to save, I think, the other thing I made. Anyway. The intricate interplay between menstrual cycles, lunar phases, and plant growth weaves a tapestry of interconnected biological rhythms, both in the natural world and the human body. Who's number 4? Ancient sciences behind menstrual practices. Okay. I don't think the lunar cycle has anything to do with the menstrual cycle. You know what? We'll look this fucking up. Okay, Healthline. One of the first people to suggest a link between menstruation and the moon was Charles Darwin. To draw whether it's real, it's claimed that there was in fact a link. And the periods around the new moon. Okay. Recent studies. 71 counties, there's no evidence. More recently suggests that human menstrual cycles may have been synchronized once, but artificial light and modern lifestyles have disrupted the link. Tracked their periods from 19 to 32 years. Five of the women's studies synced up with the moon intermittently. For 3 of the 3. 8 women? I mean, that's a really great to have a longitudinal study. 8 women tells you nothing. No discernible link between the moon and the menstruation cycle. This is clearly a very, very, if at all, tenuous circumstance. Distinctive patterns of sleep oscillations throughout the lunar cycle. Around the time of the full moon, most people slept fewer hours and went to bed later. I wonder why. Could it possibly be that the full moon has more light? Like, I don't know if any of you have ever been to like the woods on a full moon. It's bright as fuck. Full moons are really bright. You can see almost everything around you. So yeah, that kind of light disturbance also makes you stay up later. Rather than when there's a new moon / no moon, and it is so dark, you cannot see anything. Found that there may be a link between the moon and mental health, bipolar cycles, and the lunar cycles. 2 of the study participants exhibited links between the moon cycles and their menstruation, while frequently staying on either full moon or new moon. And another study, no link. These studies, what this shows is that there is very, very little evidence that the menstrual cycle is connected to the lunar cycle. It's just like with how people say that there's a lunar effect on like hospitals, and like the rates of hospital intake is somehow higher in these patients than during the full moon than other times, even though multiple studies have shown that this is not the case. It's purely superstition. I have to send this to like every woman I know in the scientific field, because they will get the biggest kick out of this. This is completely bonkers. What? Has anyone cited this? No one has cited this. Is how the pharmacognosy. What is okay? Hold on. We need to do a little bit of before we continue. The Journal of Pharmacognosy. I almost would feel bad if this turns out to... Oh, fuck. Okay, we're back. This is the most insane thing I have read in such a long time. Oh my god. Sometimes I have to say, sometimes I question myself. I have doubts about, like, because I frequently struggle with like how good of a scientific paper reader am I? Like when I was in grad school, my fellow grad students could more critically interpret scientific papers better than I ever could. They were way better at it than I was. But this makes me feel at least somewhat confident that I know how to spot insanity when it's screaming in my face. Because sometimes often what would happen, I would read a paper and be like, this seemed really interesting. Like, the study seemed pretty good. I don't really have many critiques on it. And then I would have other people be like, this research sucked. Like, this methodology is bad. It's flawed. And this is X, Y, and Z, 1Y. And I'd just be like, oh God, I didn't notice any of that. But this is just insane. All right, Internet Journal of Pharmacognosy. What is of crude drugs obtained from medicinal plants and fungi? Okay. In life science. Where is this, like, stationed? Who edits this? I might actually have to contact these people and be like, you have published this article that is clearly written by AI. Like, there was so little care into this that this is like unacceptable for this to be published. I'm sorry, but this is terrible paper. I wish I could. Here's the one thing I don't know. I don't know how to look at these legitimately. Like, look, I can identify if a paper is crappy, but I can't identify if a journal is bad or not. That is one of my biggest. Corgi, you have no idea how bad this paper is right here. It is a paper about menstruation and plant science, and it is 1,000% written by AI. This was not written by a person, because it is one of the worst written things, and it has my wife uses AI because she's not a very strong writer, so she'll use AI to like help her write a outline for things to do, which is fine. I have no issues with using ChatGPT to help you create an outline for your ideas. But what they did is that they just wrote it in ChatGPT and then copied and pasted it and sent it in for a publication. Because this is horrendous. I am going to send this to all of my, especially to all of the women. I actually should I gotta post this on Reddit, on the Women in STEM subreddit, because they will find this to be utterly insane and extremely funny. Okay, so like the introduction repeats itself multiple times because they talk about using menstrual blood as a fertilizer. But that's the only thing that they like talk about. So like they go, one such surprising alliance that has recently piqued researchers is the symbiotic relationship between menstrual and plant science. Not cited, by the way. This is not cited. They just say, oh, this seems to like has piqued the interest of researchers. If you say that, you need to back it up with citations of the recent research about menstruation and plant science. Otherwise, you're crazy. And so so they talk about, so they say that, and then they talk about, so then they say one sentence about menstruation, and then plant science, and then they go, at first the convergence of the two realms may seem likely, yet scientific endeavors have shed light on the intricate ways in which menstruation and plant science intersect. Once again, repeating what they had said in the first sentence and giving no citations as to why, as to what recent research has shed light on this. There have been none. And then this article illuminate this intriguing relationship. Intriguing relationship. Exploring the unparalleled and mutual benefits that emerge when bridging the realms. Oh, it can't be a good journal. This, like, the fact that the journal allows this level of really of the lowest of low quality effort is really surprising. Also, the other thing, their citations are completely off. Like, citation of 12. Why is it 12? Is it so here's the other thing that they did is that typically you cite your papers in, wait, is it like that or is it not like that? Hold on, let's look at a better citation of paper. Okay, so I'm correct. All right, typically this was a much more interesting paper, but like a much more actually done paper. So typically what happens is that you cite in order of when it appears in the paper, not alphabetical order of citation, and then put into and then put it in. Have you Googled the authors? I would be surprised if you can't find them. That is an excellent idea. Skill development, teacher education, explore the intersection of education and artificial intelligence, exploring the richness of flagrant flora. This is the guy or woman. I don't know if this is a woman or man. Chandra Raskar. Boy. This dude, totally, this is hilarious. The dude goes from first this menstruation plant science and then talking about how to use like educational science and like improving educational science in India, which I'm totally for. But he also randomly does like of flora here, and then hold on, no way. And then he gives, and then it's Sagnita Dash is also in this. That was another person that had written with him, and that's got to be with the. No, it's not. And then he's talking about AI when the paper is 1,000% written by AI. You can tell. I can tell. I've used AI. I've seen how AI works like this. Like my wife has used AI to like I said, to like make outlines for stuff. And because she knows I'm a better writer, so she always has me read over what it says, to make sure it's like written well, and what her additions to it, and like what she should add to it to like make it more personable and everything. This is clearly written by someone who like, who just wrote a prompt and then copy and pasted it and called it a day. This is hilarious. This is insane. So like the next part, and this was written a year ago. He's written like, hold on, is this? So he's written like he's written like 6 different journal articles in a year. I feel that these cannot be legit websites. That these are the ones that like reach out to you and it's like, we would love for you to write, pay us $3,000 for us to put it in our prestigious journal, which is not prestigious in the slightest. Okay, oh my god, I'm like getting a headache because I'm just like, my blood pressure has risen so high. This is fucking insane. All right, so they go then, the intricate interplay between menstrual cycle, lunar phases, and plant growth weaves a tapestry of interconnected biological rhythms, both in the natural world and the human body. The unicycle. Okay, the lunar cycle, with approximately 29.5 day duration, has historically been linked to various natural processes, and parallels have been drawn between its phases and the menstrual cycle. This needs to be cited. Also, we just looked up a quick thing on Healthline, which admittedly is not the greatest article, is not the most reliable website, but at least they cite their sources here with some PubMed and Science articles, and they quickly show that it is that if there's any connection, it is very weak. And in my opinion, there is no connection between the lunar cycle and the menstrual cycle. Many of the papers that shows a connection between the lunar and menstrual cycle use less than 10 patients. So like, it's such a little, it's such a small sample size that it is that just the probability of you having like of a woman's menstrual cycle to link up with the lunar cycle is pretty high, especially for these long-term longitudinal studies that, like, yeah, sometimes they're gonna link up just because of how they're slightly desynced. And especially if anything crazy happens, some stressful event happens, or if you get pregnant or whatever, it's gonna change up your period cycle. But this needs to be cited. This is not a statement that you can. This feels like this was written by me when I was like 18. No, I wouldn't have even done this in high school. Like in my later years, this was me when I was like 15. All right, while the scientific evidence supporting direct synchronization is limited, not cited, the shared periodicity prompts speculation about the potential influence of both menstruating individuals and plant life. How does this? Okay. On a physiological level, the menstrual cycle is orchestrated by hormone fluctuations, with estrogen and progesterone levels rising and falling in a cyclical pattern. Yes, why is this sentence? Okay, we're just gonna have to shred this whole thing. Why is this sentence in the middle of this paragraph? This is an introductory sentence. This is not where you put this sentence. Like, when you write something like this is, like I said, this is introductory. This should have been put here and replaced one of the repeating sentences here. Similarly, plants respond to environmental cues. It's going to fall asleep already in bed. No worries. It's totally fine. Suddenly, plants respond to, it's like, at least midnight, if not 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning where you live. So it's totally fine. Anyway, you two. Similarly, plants respond to environmental cues, including light variations linked to lunar phases through intricate hormonal and signaling pathways. So it's very much more likely that plants are much more in tune with the lunar cycle. I would be willing to bet that plants that rely on nocturnal pollinators probably are linked with the lunar cycle in some way. I would be very strongly willing to bet that that is the case. Okay, research suggests that these shared rhythmic patterns may extend beyond mere coincidence, hinting at a more profound connection. Where's the citation? You can't just say this. This is nonsense. Also, they've already said that this is already interconnected somehow. They said a tapestry of interconnected biological rhythms. Prompt speculation about the potential impact of both menstruating individuals and plant life. So they've already said this. As we explore the potential correlations, it becomes apparent that the lunar influence on menstruation and plants could be multifaceted. 7. The menstrual cycle and its relationship to the moon. Acta obstetricis and gynecological Scandinavia. We're just gonna look at this. We're gonna have to look at all these papers that have been published. A synchronous relationship between the menstrual cycle and lunar cycle was confirmed by. Oh, this is the one made it 826 volunteer females who were menstrual cycle aged 16 to 25 years. Large proportion of menstruations occurred around the new moon, while at other times the lunar month proportions of menstruations ranged between 8 and 12%. Of 3 female reached the zenith prior to during menstruation, gradually declining the nadir. Hey, Nader and then Nader Fiend? What a coincidence. Nader Fiend, I'm glad you're here. We're reading one of the most insane papers I've ever laid my eyes on. It's a paper supposedly about menstruation and plant science, which they have not gotten into at all about menstruation or plant science, or how they're connected. They keep saying that research has connected the two, and they're just not. They are just not. They don't talk about any of that. So this is like an old research paper. About that suggests, I mean, to be fair, 826. No, they're talking about mammalian menstruation and plants and plant growth. It includes one of the most insane sentences I have read in a while: menstruational blood as fertilizer. Which, by the way, they don't say more than beyond the fact that you could use menstruation blood as a fertilizer. It's a thing you could do. They don't have any sort of evidence of that ever being used, or why, and like the logistics of such a thing. How do you even do that? They just say in 2 or 3 times that it's like it. Let me show you. It goes, one such unexplored avenue lies in the utilization of menstrual blood as a fertilizer for agricultural purposes. This idea may initially evoke surprise or skepticism, but as we delve into the intricate composition of menstrual blood and the nutrient requirements for plants, a compelling argument alternative fertilizer begins to unfold. Also, what a mouthful of a sentence. Like, clearly AI written. This is gobbledygook that AI likes to write, because AI always uses way too flowery vocabulary. And the greatest thing, Nader, is that this guy or woman, I think it's a guy, this person not only has written this and another paper about plant species richness, but then he writes completely differently about like how to teach kids in India, and also about AI. So he clearly is familiar with AI, but this dude is 100% using AI to write his own papers. Lecturer, Department of Botany. Like, this is terrible. Like, this is one of the worst papers I've ever read in my entire life. This person should be embarrassed about how poorly this thing was written. And the thing is that it may be that he's just started, it's clearly he's just started writing papers from this. This is his first ever paper he's written. And then he's written like 6 papers in the past year that's been published. Like, it's, I just can't. Okay, so he says that, and then he goes, the idea may initially evoke surprise or skepticism, one unexpected connection, and then he goes, and then this next sentence immediately after with the ones we say is one unexpected connection between menstruation blood and plant size is the potential use of menstruation blood as fertilizer. That's literally this sentence above. We're gonna highlight this sentence, and then we're gonna highlight this sentence. Avenue lies in the utilization of menstrual blood as fertilizer for agricultural purposes. And then one unexpected connection between menstruation and plant science is the potential use of menstrual blood as a natural fertilizer. It even starts out unexpected avenue, unexpected connection. It's literally repeating itself. And it does, and like I've said this already, but you weren't here for this. So my wife has used ChatGPT to create outlines for like applications that she's written, that she's gonna write, which I'm totally cool with. It's like doesn't have the strong like scientific writing background or application writing background that I have. And so like it's a good way for her to like get the ideas out, and then she like writes around it. And she has me read over what ChatGPT says for me to give her then suggestions of how to make it better. And this is classic ChatGPT shit, where they say it once and then they say it again. I bet you that if I showed this to my wife, she'd be like, because she's even more, because like she's used ChatGPT more than me to write papers. I use it to write. I use it for coding. It's great. ChatGPT is incredible for coding. But she would look at this and be like, yeah, this is written by ChatGPT. Okay. But you could, and then menstrual blood contains essential nutrients. So eco-conscious individuals, some have explored the idea of menstrual blood as an organic conventional fertilizers. That's literally the first sentence. That's the first sentence. Eco-friendly practices, eco-friendly individuals. And then the exploration of menstrual blood as a fertilizer not only challenges, like, this should have been, like, sentence number 2. But it's literally the exact same. This thing basically says the same thing as evoke surprise or skepticism. And they didn't delve into the intricate composition of menstrual blood as a nutrient. They didn't do any of this. Okay. We're gonna continue on. Okay. Whether it be gravitational forces, changes in atmosphere. Yes, gravity affects plant growth, but changes in gravity does not. There's not enough change in gravity to affect plant growth. All right, dude. Pressure definitely does. Suitable light variation during the lunar phases. These factors might subtly influence hormonal regulations of both humans and plants. Gravitational forces? Gravity doesn't affect men. This is a sentence I never thought I would type into my computer. How do women handle their periods in space? Okay, when women first moved, it wasn't known what the effects would be. Turns out, while most systems are heavily affected, female menstruation cycle doesn't seem to be affected at all. Gravity does not affect menstruation cycle. This is literally a scientist who wrote a paper about menstruation and space flight, saying that gravitational forces does not affect hormone. Well, it does not affect the hormonal the menstruation regulation of humans. Impacting reproductive cycles and growth patterns. Moreover, the ancient agricultural practices in some cultures have been guided by the lunar cycle, while planting and harvesting coordination or with specified lunar phases. I don't know if that's accurate. It might be. The agriculture has been mostly driven by temporal cycles like the equinoxes. That's when people really start to care. Like longest and shortest days of the year, so that they know when to plant, so that they know winter is coming to an end. While empirical evidence is still evolving, the idea of aligning agricultural activities and lunar cycle rhythms could offer okay, cool sentence, bro. This has nothing to do with the menstrual cycle. Woo, boy. All right, let's keep going. The convergence of menstrual cycle and seed germination. Well, oh my God. It's going to say the same thing. It's going to be like, wow, these two things seem different. They're actually intricately related to each other, even though they don't produce a single-sided source. Oh man, if I was a professor at a university, I would use this as an example to show this is what happens if you use AI, and this is why you need to cite sources, because this paper is so insane. This is the epitome of a terrible paper. The convergence of menstruation and seed germination may seem like an unlikely association at first glance, yet a closer examination reveals intriguing parallels and potential connections between these seemingly disparate phenomena. What a mouthful. This is a terrible sentence. And literally the same thing as this idea may eventually evoke surprise discussion, but as we delve into the intricate composition, they like to use the word intricate very often. Even though they don't use it here. Never mind. But they literally say the exact same thing over and over again. Menstruation, a fundamental aspect of reproductive biology, involves the cyclic shedding of the uterine lining, rich in nutrients and hormonal signals. Okay, this sentence should have been in the introduction. Why is it randomly with seed germination? Also, seed germination not brought up in the introduction at all. I said this earlier, but the purpose of an introduction is to the purpose of the introduction is to lay out the groundwork of what you're going to, and give you background of what you're going to discuss in later on in the paper. Why did our lineage of great apes evolve to conceal ovulation unlike other great apes? Topic change. This is actually a really good question. We think, at least from the last stuff I've read, it has been a little bit, but I don't think the research has drastically changed on this. But from what I can remember, is that the concealed ovulation likely in part occurred because oh god, sorry, my brain has flatlined. So it in part occurred probably to ensure that like male to probably as a way to ensure monogamism, as a way for females, so that males couldn't know when they were ovulating, and it also gives female choice. That females, typically you would think that this would cause females to like, I'm ovulating, thus I get to choose, but they don't know that, so I get to choose who I mate with. Not the males don't get to choose when to mate with me. The problem is that women are very inconsistent when they know that they are ovulating. They obviously are very sensitive to when they are menstruating, but not typically when some women can literally feel the egg bursting from from the ovary into the fallopian tube. They can feel which side the egg is being produced from. But either than that small group, it's really difficult for women to know when they are ovulating. So that's not necessarily the entire story. It likely has something to do with ensuring monogamy, as the male has to, the male partner would have to continuously mate with the female, and only him, to ensure that he was the parent, that he was the father of the child. So it could, and leading to that, that could have led to monogamy. However, paternity uncertainty often causes males to be less invested in babies. So this, because you could see this in chimpanzees, where chimpanzees, females mate with every single male multiple times during her ovulation period. However, but this means that none of the males know who the baby is, so they won't kill the baby, but they also won't help her out in any way. Unlike what you see in like gorillas, where male gorillas have paternity certainty, but also female gorillas don't really have, also basically have concealed ovulation. They don't have sexual swellings. It's likely to do something. It could be something to do more with that. And this is me. We're going into the range of me spitballing, and I would have to look into why, what the most recent theories. Well, we can just look at the most recent theories of concealed ovulation for humans. Okay, no, it's okay. This is a great question. I don't want to accept all cookies. Fucking hell. How's the DOI? I mean, we can quit. Here's let's try to Sci-Hub this. Okay. We need to scooch this in a little bit. Okay, after half a century of debate, few empirical tests, there remains no consensus concerning why ovulation in human females is considered concealed. The predominant male investment hypothesis states that females were better able to obtain material investment from male partners across those females' ovulatory cycles by concealing ovulation. We built on recent work on female competition to propose and investigate an alternative, the female rivalry hypothesis, that concealed ovulation benefited females by allowing them to avoid aggression from other females. By using agent-based models of mating behavior and parental investment in a human ancestral environment, we did not find strong support for male investment hypothesis, but found support for the female rivalry hypothesis. Our results suggest that concealed ovulation may have benefited females in navigating their intrasexual social relationships. Interesting. Could it be both? So, what is the other one? It's called the male investment hypothesis. Like I said, the problem with trying to suggest that it's male and that it forces males to be more invested is that that kind of investment is difficult. Is because, like, why would a male invest in a female if he's not 100% certain that it's the female? So it could have just been that because here's the extra part of this is that one of the predominant theories of how we became monogamous isn't that we evolved from a chimpanzee like common ancestor with chimpanzees that probably was a very promiscuous mating society where females mated with all the males to prevent their babies from getting killed. And so that, like I said that before, that kind of mating system, males don't invest anything into the babies because why would they? It could easily be it could easily be some other rival male's baby and not yours. This is back in 2018. This theory was that basically, that it was a progression from promiscuous mating to a gorilla-like single male, multi-female polygynous mating system, where males had little harems, and then condensed down into single male, single female units when babies became more and more expensive, energetically expensive to upkeep. And so if this is true, it could be because female gorillas don't really have any kind of obvious sexual swellings. They just don't have it. And that's because because of their mating system, that males are male gorillas have nearly like a 99% paternity certainty in any group that in their harems. They know who their babies are. So females don't have to go through the sexual swelling because they only have one male partner that they're with. So it could easily have happened that a similar thing happened with humans, where when our ancestors transitioned from the promiscuous mating system to the harem mating system, that females evolved concealed ovulation just because they didn't need to have it, and then it may have added adaptive benefits later on, and it was kept when they're doing. Hey, what up, Geo Jim? It's good to see you guys. We are going over the most insane paper. Hold on, I just want to see when my wife... Okay, so... 20 minutes. Guys, this is one of the... You're going to enjoy this. This is one of the most insane papers I've ever read. I was just looking for an interesting... Thank you for all the follows. Oh my gosh. Really appreciate it. With Dr. Hubs, Lou Genius, Hogan, 698. Really appreciate it. So I was just looking for like interesting papers for symbiotic relationships. Bev Strassen. I don't know who that is, but Might Shiny, thank you for the follow. This is gonna tickle your guys' fancies, I think. So I was just looking for like, oh, maybe there's a new interesting paper about symbiotic relationships. Nader Fiend, thank you for the 50 bits. And so I came across Menstruation in Plant Science, a symbiotic relationship. And I'm like, okay, I have to look at this. This is insane. Like, I have to do this. And so, in reading it, it is one of the worst papers I have ever read in my entire life. I used to question myself at times if I was good or bad. Illustration of huts along the Dogon in Mali. I should send this to her because, she would get a kick out of this paper because it's so insane. This is like one of the worst, and Ungoy 1 and Black Cat Lady 8, thank you so much for the follows. I really appreciate it. But this is truly a terrible paper. No, dude, you have no idea how bad this is. This was clearly written by AI. This was ChatGPT written 100%. I would stake where was this published in the International Journal of Pharmacognosy and Life Science. Pharmacognosy is the study of crude drugs taken from plants and other things. Thank you so much, Naderfiend, for using the Prime as well. I really appreciate that. Which I looked at, it doesn't really look like a legit site. I mean, it exists, but it's just like, I don't know. The website just looks very perfunctory. But also, they clearly are not a serious website because they let garbage like this come through. If this is not AI written, this is one of the worst human written papers I've ever seen. Just period. This is garbage. This is trash. I shouldn't crap on writers. So Hogan, I have my opinions on AI. I think AI is great for people who are just trying to write general things like job applications, cover letters. Those things fucking suck. And like take a lot of time that is wasted because no one fucking reads them anyway. I'm okay with using like that. Also, ChatGPT is incredible resource for coding. To use that for a code, it helps me code a lot. Like it's an incredible resource for that. It is still not very good for writing papers. Like it is good for creating outlines and organizing thoughts, but this person clearly just wrote a prompt into ChatGPT and you want to know why I'm even more certain. I'll give you examples of how bad this is. But the clincher for me about how this was AI written is that we looked into what this guy had written as well. I am offended. Yes, you should be offended. Anyone who's of the scientific community should be or just knows how to write a paper should be highly offended. And so this is his first ever paper written. And then he writes another one about Indian School of Science Education, which I am for. And then the last one is a comprehensive review of artificial intelligence impact on skill development. So he's talking about AI. His last couple of papers are about AI. So he clearly is aware of AI, and he clearly used it for this paper. Okay, so here are some great examples. The introduction is nonsense. Utter, complete nonsense. Okay, so it starts out with you can tell that when something is AI and not edited out of it by repeating sentences saying the same thing and super wordy super wordy sentences. Like run-on sentences are chronic in ChatGPT stuff. My wife has used ChatGPT to write as an outline to write applications. To write applications for stuff, and has had me then to read over what ChatGPT suggested to see if it's good or not, and what for her to add and expand upon herself. Trust me, I wouldn't let my wife just send straight copy and paste out of ChatGPT, but it's great for her because she's not as strong of a writer as I am. That's just skills that she was never given to develop. Those skills were never fostered with her. And so let's just go down the list of just this. So it goes, one surprising alliance. See, who says this? Has been recently piqued in the interest of researchers in the symbiotic relationship between menstruation and plant science. Okay, so they say this. And then they go, wow, the two subjects appear worlds apart. A deeper explanation unravels a connection that goes beyond mere coincidence. It mentions what kind of menstruation is, and then plant science. And then they go, at a glance, the convergence of these two realms seems unlikely, yet scientific endeavor has shed light on the intricate ways between menstruation and plant science intersect. Literally saying the exact same thing as this sentence above, where it goes, one such surprising alliance has recently piqued the interest is the symbiotic relationship between menstruation and plant science. Literally the same thing. And then it goes, at a glance, the convergence of these two realms may seem unlikely. Could be used as a good source as iron in anemic patients. I haven't even read the whole thing yet. I haven't even read the whole thing yet. I'm still stuck on the first couple of paragraphs because people come in. I'm just like, guys, come in. This is insane. You're never gonna believe this. This article, and then it goes, have shed light on intricate ways plant science intersect, which is the symbiotic relation. So it already because this is the same as a deeper explanation unravels a connection that goes beyond mere coincidence. Once again, saying the same thing in just a slightly different way. This article seems to illuminate the intriguing relationship, exploring the unexpected parallels and the mutual benefits that emerge when the bridge between realms of human biology and biobotanical research. From hormonal fluctuations influencing both menstruating individuals and plant life to the shared ecological impact of menstruational products, I don't know how they're shared, will uncover the symbiosis between menstruation and plant science, offering a fresh perspective on the interconnectedness of life's diverse processes. A deeper understanding. So they say that, and so it's just the repeat of oh, this seems really weird, but we promise we're gonna show you. Doesn't say anything. And so then you get to this hell of an intro. Menstruational blood as a fertilizer. A sentence I never thought I would read. And so, in the quest for sustainable, eco-friendly practices, unconventional solutions often emerge as game changers. And then they say this next sentence. One such unexplored avenue lies in the utilization of menstrual blood as a fertilizer for agricultural purposes. And then 2 2 sentences later, they go, one unexpected connection between menstruational science and plant science is the potential use of menstrual blood as a natural fertilizer. And then later on, they go, some eco have explored the idea of using menstruational blood as an organic and sustainable fertilizer in conventional science. Menstruational blood as an organic and sustainable. So 3 times, literally every other sentence is the same thing. It says, okay, so you have this sentence, one sentence, which this sentence, by the way, way too long. This is completely a run-on. The idea may initially evoke surprise or skepticism, but as we delve into the intricate composition of menstrual blood and the nutrient requirements of plants, a compelling argument for this alternative fertilizer begins to unfold. So they say this. This is so this would be an interesting lead-up. It's like, okay, what is this compelling argument? They don't give you a compelling argument, like, at all. They just don't. They say it and then they just move on. It's so funny. So like, this is crazy. And then this is also just equally nuts, is that then they go menstrual cycles and lunar phases. And it's just like, whoa. Where did the lunar phases come from? That wasn't mentioned at all in any of these in the introduction. And for those who don't know, currently shitting in my backyard lawns because it's great natural fertilizer. No. The best way to say don't understand this, use my partner's used tampons to fertilize my bean crop. Worship my bum mortals. Oh my god. So okay, and then it goes. So yeah. So for those who I'm assuming most of you guys are familiar with how introductions work. They are supposed, especially in scientific papers, especially in things like this, they are supposed to outline your line of arguments that are coming up and to give you a background of what each argument of like the topics that are going to be covered in this exploratory I can't say the word paper. But they don't at a single moment make you think that they're going to talk about the lunar cycle. And so then it just goes, and then it gets even better. So the intricate interplay between menstrual cycles, lunar phases, and plant growth weaves a tapestry of interconnected biological rhythms of both in the natural world and the human body. This, and also how they cite things, completely incorrect. They got all these random papers and they alphabetized these. And okay, I gotta be fair. I can't remember. I'm so used to just reading papers. I can't remember if I think sometimes you can have them alphabetized and then put in, but it just feels off. I don't know. Someone else might be able to tell me on this. This could be a stretch too far of being like, this was bad, when it's like, people do this all the time. Anyway, so, the lunar cycle has sort of been linked to various natural processes, and parallels have been drawn between its phases and the menstrual cycle. This sentence needs to be cited, and they just don't. They just say it, and they're like, this paragraph is the most ultimate trust me bro sentence that I've ever read. So by the way, there is very little evidence to support that there is a connection between the lunar cycle and the menstrual cycle. That occasionally some paper, especially older papers, suggested that there was a connection between the lunar phases and the menstrual cycle, but most of the recent papers have suggested no relationship, and one of the few that did used only like 8 subjects, which is like, you're going to get I'm doing well, Slayer Doth. We're just talking about the most insane paper ever. But like, you're going to get some overlap because they did like a longitudinal study from 19 to 32 years. And so you're going to get some overlap between the lunar cycle because they're both a month long. Does this have a global audience? Why aren't there reviewers for this journal? I can't tell you. This could easily be one of those kind of scammy review journals that is just like, oh, join a, like, please pay us tons of money for your own and we'll publish your paper. That I get these all the time. I hope you don't have hookworm. That's how it spreads. Also true. And also cholera. Don't forget cholera being spread by fecal matter. Okay, so while scientific evidence supporting this direct synchronization is limited, the shared periodicities prompt speculation about the potential influences of both menstrual cycles and plant life. Also, another sentence that has to be supported. You have to cite this. This requires like 3 or 4 citations, and they just don't. They just don't cite it. On a physiological level, and then this is the great sentence. On a physiological level, the menstrual cycle is orchestrated by hormonal fluctuations with estrogen and progesterone levels rising and falling in cyclical patterns. This is an introductory, this goes in introductory paragraph. This doesn't belong here. What is this sentence? This is background. This has nothing to do with with this. Similarly, plants respond to environmental cues, including light variation linked to the lunar phases, through intricate hormonal signaling pathways. Not cited. Probably true, but not cited. Research suggests that shared rhythmic patterns may extend beyond mere coincidence, hitting a more profound connection. Not cited. Also, repeated sentence. This sentence basically is the first sentence all over again. And also say it again right here, where like, while the scientific evidence in direct synchronization is limited, the shared periodicity prompts speculation. That's literally cited. Gotta pack up. No worries, GeoJim. Thank you for the raid. I really appreciate it. Practice in humans have survived for long because we have natural immunity to hookworms. No citation needed because I'm the best. Research suggests that these shared rhythmic... There's actually a really interesting thing about intestinal parasites is that there's a pretty strong hypothesis suggesting that the lack of intestinal parasites is a part of the reason why allergies have gotten out of control in humans in industrialized areas. That the rise of allergies is likely because we are so rarely impacted by parasites, infections, all that stuff, that our immune systems can't fight against anything, so it starts attacking ourselves. It basically starts punching itself in the face because it has nothing left to fight. Your immune system is constantly angry and will take its violence out on itself if you don't give it something to fight. There's been some really interesting studies that have shown... Sounds like my workplace. There've been really interesting studies that have shown that if you give people like rat tapeworms, not human tapeworms, but a rat, yeah, like, yes, like in Fight Club. So if you give them like rat tapeworms, that because rat tapeworms don't spread easily and eventually die out in your gut because it's not exactly the same. But during that period, that the allergic reactions to like peanuts and other things seems to be depressed. I don't know how far this has gotten. I hope it's more, because like my sister is deathly allergic to peanuts. I just don't think it's gotten a lot of traction because who wants to give themselves parasites? But if I had a severe allergic reaction to like nuts and stuff, I would absolutely give this a try just so I can like live my life better. Anyway, we continue. So research suggests that these shared rhythmic patterns may extend beyond mere coincidence, hinting at a more profound connection. Already repeated. As we explore the potential connections, it becomes apparent that the lunar influence on the menstrual cycle in plants could be multifaceted. Literally already stated. Literally already stated already. But not it like, and this is like one of the oldest papers that suggests that there is a link in the lunar cycle. That the lunar cycle and menstrual cycle is linked. And then the majority of the papers after this one does not suggest any connection. But why parasites specifically? Can't vaccines help with whatever immunity we need? It's not. The thing is that vaccines are like, they give you the antibodies and then it's done. It's not a continuous fight. You need, the idea is basically that, like, as a professor I had a professor who gave this lecture when I was in college, is that you are fighting, your immune system has evolved fighting against a headwind, that you're walking towards a strong wind, and then all of a sudden the wind goes away and you fall flat on your face. So it needs something to constantly fight against, so it doesn't constantly attack yourself. Anyway, so this paper is super old and does not like, it has been like, has been disproven multiple times. But they only cite the one that gives them, that is like the strongest paper. But if you did like a literature review, you would find next to no evidence supporting this. And this is it, literally your immune system. Allergies is literally just your immune system going, stop hitting yourself, but much more violent. So whether it be gravitational forces, changes in atmospheric pressure, or subtle light variations during the lunar phases, these factors might subtly influence hormonal regulation in both humans and plants, impacting reproductive cycles and growth patterns. The moon for plants, sure. I love that they introduced gravitational forces. By the way, if you look into that at all, let me see. No, not that one, not that one, not that one. Okay, I didn't save the article, but we literally saw an article that was like this woman who had this scientist who had looked into menstruational cycles in space, and they were like, the menstruational cycle is one of the only things not affected when you're in 0G. So gravity does not affect the menstrual cycle in humans at all. It just doesn't. Which is hilarious. So, and like all of these are like, he does, once again, provides zero evidence for any of this in humans and or plants. I mean, obviously these are probably accepted and these are probably supported in plants, but hormonal regulation is okay, bro. Moreover, ancient agricultural practices have, in some cultures, have been guided by the lunar cycle. Okay, that's probably true. It's more important about like the equinoxes and like the signaling of spring and summer in a more grander scale, but I guess the lunar cycle is effective in some of that. While empirical evidence is still evolving, the idea of aligning agricultural activities with the lunar rhythms could offer insights in optimizing plant growth and overall crop yield. Cool story, bro. What the fuck does this do with the menstrual cycle? This is just like a throwaway comment. Like, okay, are we talking about the menstrual cycle? Is this about the menstrual cycle or the lunar cycle? And not gags. What kind of data would you need to prove it, or how much sample space? That's a good, you would need to have a bunch of women save their menstrual, like their menstrual byproducts, and for you to throw it on plants. I mean, obviously it's gonna be good, because like the uterine lining during like the uterine lining buildup is full of nutrients to have a baby. So yeah, it's gonna be like putting any kind of like it'd be like putting eggs, cracking eggs and mixing it into the soil. Like, also really good. Well, maybe not an egg, but it very similar idea. So I just don't see how any of this, like, with the but it's the biggest question is, how the fuck do you gather the menstrual cycle? How do you gather the menstrual material to plant this? It's like, it's just not enough. Hold on, I gotta fix this. But it would be weird. That sounds like some new age hippie weirdo bullshit. That's either super liberals are doing this, or super conservative religious wackadoodles are doing this. That they are burying tampons into the soil. Only super weirdos. That is such a great description of the situation. You could bury tampons, but it would work, but it would be weird. Swinging into lunar cycles for good measure. Chemicals and could I mean, you'd have to have like organic I mean, the thing is that I don't think there are many chemicals in tampons, because it's like inserting those into, like, the vagina is really sensitive to absorbing things. Widow prepper homesteaders, very true. Oh, that's true about the antibacterial stuff. That is true. But it's not so much, I don't think it has antibacterial, because they don't want to disrupt the bacterial colonies in the vagina, but it's sterile. But it's not, I don't think they have antibacterial stuff, because that could really mess up the bacterial processes in it. I gotta say though, not a woman, not an expert on this. They didn't say only human. Right, but like, are they gonna start putting tampons in cattle? Like, I just don't know how heavy menstrual cycles is for other animals. Pour menstrual cups into the soil. Oh, that's just nasty. Oh my god, that's fucking foul. Yeah, no, I could tell my wife to do that. She would be very amused by that suggestion. Oh my god. Speaking of my wife, when is she getting home? Okay. Yeah, I only got like a couple minutes. And so, just for your gross out reaction. Oh my god, dude. What a fucking foul idea. Like, that's just disgusting. Put a bed in the doghouse first. Yeah. Gross. I have to make this into a YouTube video. This needs to be like one of my first YouTube videos I've made in like a couple of years, because this is so good, it's insane. Okay, and then it goes on to menstruation and seed germination. Once again, like, not introduced in the intro at all. It's just not. So the convergence of menstruation and seed germination may seem like an unlikely association at first glance, yet closer examination reveals intriguing parallels and potential connections. I ran out of breath reading this. This is a terrible sentence, and also they say the exact same thing about each thing. Seems an unlikely association. Oh crap. Seems that, and then they have the idea may initially evoke surprise or skepticism, and then while the two subjects appear worlds apart, a deeper exploration unravels a connection that goes in between beyond mere coincidence. What a terrible sentence. This is complete AI jargon. Bleh. I mean, look how big these words are. So menstruation, and then And then it goes, menstruation, a fundamental aspect of female reproductive biology, cyclic shedding of the uterine lining, rich in nutrients and hormonal signals. This is an introductory sentence. This does not go here. In the realm of seed germination, the process marks the commencement of a plant's life cycle, where the dormant seed awakens and begins to sprout. A variety of factors: water, temperature, and nutrient availability. Recent scientific inquiries have explored the possibility of utilizing menstrual blood as a natural and nutrient-rich solution to promote seed germination. Who says this? This is not, like, no one has said this. Like, bro, this is the first paper that says this. No one, and also, I love this, no one has cited this paper as well, because there is no scientific investigation in this, because it's fucking nuts. Also, just, like, commercially inviable. The rich composition of menstrual fluid, including essential nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, raises the prospect of providing organic germinating seeds. Oh, okay. Wait. 10. Menstruational phytotherapy, according to Iran ethnobotanical sources. Okay, this will be the next paper we read, because this also seems equally insane. Okay, so I guess there was a paper. Both of which AI can solve. No, I mean, if they could, I would love for this paper to put up a compelling, scientifically backed argument for using menstruational blood as a fertilizer at a commercial scale. I would be all for that, because it's so insane yet so good. This is just complete nonsense. We'll have to look at this paper later, because this is the first paper that anyone has suggested this. The potential synergy between menstruation and seed germination not only challenges scientific societal perceptions surrounding menstrual blood, but also avenues for eco-friendly practices. Once again, this is said here, literally the same societal taboos and agricultural sustainability, as well as eco-friendly practices. And like, it could be actually really bad, because like, that's just blood and waste, and like, putting that out in the field could be not healthy for the people interacting with it. All right, what is this? SAC 1993. A possible presence of growth hormone or axiom, as well as menotoxin in menstrual blood. What? Auxin. What does this have anything to do? Also, 1933, not exactly the most reliable of sources. If we make a video, this whole thing is hilariously bad. I am definitely going to have to do this. I have to make a video on this. This is so awful. Okay, so generally you don't want to use super old sources like this, because scientific papers, like, there's no statistics, isn't even a thing back then. These are just like description papers most of the time. Yeah, some papers are so famous and so are so predominant that you have to include them for the basics, because they are like the first basic layers of like they're like the first layer that were the first foundational seminal papers on these subjects going that far. We're gonna have to look into this later, but I don't see this paper being at all what you need for a statement like this. Understanding these interactions could open up new avenues for enhancing seed germination in agriculture and horticulture. Once again, I want to bring back your attention, people, to let's see. This idea initially evokes surprise. Okay, so I want to point you out to this sentence here when it goes, this idea may initially evoke surprise or skepticism, but as we delve into the intricate composition of menstrual blood and the nutrient requirements, a compelling argument for this alternative begins to unfold. They say intricate composition, like they're about to like go in depth about like what plants need and like the levels of different nutrients in menstrual blood and everything, yada yada yada. They literally don't say this. They the closest they get to an intricate composition is that they just say has nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. That's literally all they say. And they don't even give percentages. That's just what they say. Okay. An environmental impact. Okay. I'm not going to look at it. I'm going to predict that the first sentence is going to be, while the interaction between menstrual cycles and environmental impacts seem odd, we may but a closer examination will reveal a more significant association than previously considered. It's going to be like that. All right, let's see. The intersection of menstrual health and environment impact on this scene unveils a complex interplay between human well-being, menstrual practices, and ecological sustainability. I was so close. It didn't. AI was smarter. I was close. The second half of my sentence was correct. Basically, you want to see a bunch of women scurrying into the backyard in a time-lapse video of crops. We have a baseline. We'll have a baseline. You also need to figure out funding and other boring problems like ethics. Menstruation. Oh my god. Once again, like this first part of the sentence is already repeated. I want to keep going, but I have to stop because I have to start cooking for my wife who's about to show up. Oh my god. Okay. Thank you for everybody who came to check this out. This is like one of the most insane things I've ever read in my entire life. All right, we're going to do a raid. For those who are new, I stream around this time every Friday. So please tune in next Friday. We're going to continue reading this. As this is perfect. Wait a minute. Was there a science person? Preguntas, scientific questions, but they're in Spanish, which is. Oh, my wife is here. Okay. Unfortunately, none of the people that I'm following are doing this. Okay, we're gonna follow the scientific person. Okay. She'll be good. All right, we're going to start the raid. All right, guys, thank you so much for coming. I hope all of you guys have a great rest of your day. Hopefully she speaks some English, and so you can tell her about the insane paper that we just read. It'll be super fun. You guys have a great rest of your weekend. I will see you next week. Hey, honey. Yeah. Just wrapping up.